Woo! Oh, hey guys, this right here is the Revolt Fitness Smith Machine attachment. Attaches to 1-inch holes, 5/8 holes on your wall racks like this, your power racks for a budget-friendly price. So you don't have to eat up space of using a full Smith machine. You can attach it to your rack. Could this be a right fit for you guys in your home gym? Well, let's see and find out. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, guys, so in today's video, we're gonna cover Revolt Fitness and another one of their budget-friendly attachments. And if this video is helpful for you, I do have my Revolt Fitness link in the description. If you use that link, you buy anything from Revolt Fitness, like the Smith Machine attachment or any other products that I reviewed or on their website, I get a small commission. It's for you, and it helps a creator like me continue to make more content for you guys out there in the home gym. And if you bought stuff through Revolt Fitness, let's have a conversation in the comments of how the products have been for you so that the home gym community can see how it's been for you and if my content has been helpful in you guys creating the gains at home. Honestly, been really excited to test something out like this because the Smith Machine attachment has been around for a little bit and the buzz of the community has been out there, and there's companies coming out with these things, and Revolt Fitness has come out with their own style of a Smith Machine attachment. Let's just first talk about, this product, what it does, the specs, and then we'll break it down more with testing phase and go from there. First of all, this attaches to your power racks, your wall racks. So what's really nice about this, guys, is you don't have to attach it like this. So obviously with the wall rack, I only have 2 uprights. So I could attach it here and find a way to utilize inside the wall rack, but in a space-saving way I have this, and not having very long cross members here, it would be tight fit. So in my situation, I would utilize it on the front uprights like this. But for people who have like a 4-post or 6-post rack, or even you have holes around all of your upright like this, you can put it around your rack, which I think is really a huge bonus of something like this. You don't have it stuck in a fixed spot like this, because obviously for me, I'm testing this and using this. It's eating up my rack, so it's a lot more difficult for me to want to get in here and use my J-cups for things because it's in the way. And if I were to put my J-cups here and squat, I got no room. But most people have a 4-post rack or 6-post rack. You could put this wherever, which I think is very unique. So this will fit, and as long as you have the 5/8 holes, the 1-inch holes, 2x2, 2x3, 3x3, this is something you guys could utilize. Now, an important part of a product like this is, will it fit on my rack, especially if I have short ceilings? Do I have enough space to utilize it? So honestly, we'll plug all the dimensions here, but it's always fun as an English teacher to get out my tape measure and measure for you guys the distance from the very top to the bottom of this. So if I were to go from here and measure all the way down to the bottom, it's about, I'd say it's around close to about 69 inches. So that's how much space you would need on your front upright to be able to utilize the Smith Machine and have enough travel. So if you wanted to do a row, you wanted to do this and do a bench press, incline bench press, a shoulder press, or a squat, you have enough travel on these guide rods to be able to do all those lifts. So most racks are gonna work and be able to do that. So I have it snug right underneath this bolt here so that I didn't have to take out this bolt and attach it here. So it fit perfectly and nice here. I do have a little bit of space down here where I could have dropped it down more, but I would have to take out that bolt already in here and do that. So I was just like, all right, it works out fine. I know that's a lot of people are wondering about that. Now, I think something else to mention too is the barbell length is really important, because there might be people who are like, Luke, I have 2 cross members. Cross members, and then I have 2 uprights, or I just have 2 uprights right here, and I want to attach it right here. Is the barbell, how long is the barbell? Because is it going to hit the side of my wall? Which we'll have that plug for here for you guys, but the length of this barbell from end to end, got about, we go here to here, and about close to around 78. Around 78, we'll say 78. So So that's something to keep in mind too if you were to put it here. Do you have enough room to slide some plates on here without hitting your wall? Because some people might using it right here, so they have the front of their racks for the trolley system, or they have their vultures or whatever they have up here, because they don't want to jeopardize the space of the rack with that. So that's just something to keep in mind, is how much space you have here in the barbell. Now what you get with something like this, guys, so when I got this and when this came in, is these spotters here. So these spotters use my 1-inch hitch pins, and the hitch pin here, it's real easy. You just take the hitch pin in and out. You can slide this up and down your rack for support. So it uses just a little piece of thicker steel. It's powder coated black finish. So it's, you know, it's like, I'd say about this thick, that you're able to drop your bar here as like a safety aspect. You know, other cheaper machines use little dinky springs, and then it springs onto that. And then I've had Smith machines where those springs literally, if I drop it, I feel like it's gonna kill me. So, I mean, I've dropped this a decent amount. You know, most people aren't gonna be doing a bunch of slamming this down super hard, you know, unless like you blow out your pec or blow out something. So these have been okay. Now I will mention that the powder coat has chipped a little bit here, but I also been slamming the absolute crap out of this bar on it, because we like to test, we like to get a little bit wild and crazy with this. So I don't think most people have that, but again, powder coat coming off is not detrimental to the steel. What else you get with this, guys, too? You get this barbell. So this barbell is 22 pounds. It's got knurl all across it. I'm not gonna lie, I like this bar. I am a fan. I like it a lot. The knurl is definitely, it's not passive. I would say it's closer to medium. Like, not bad at all. It's probably one of my favorite Smith machine bars that I've personally used. Now you can notice that the diameter of the bar, it's not a super thick diameter. What they also utilize is they got just these plastic sleeves here. These plastic sleeves, you slide your Olympic plates. They say this can hold up to 500 pounds. I ain't getting close to that, big dogs. It's just not happening. I don't want to, I don't care. You know, I'm using the Smith machine to perfect movements. I get a fixed path. I don't care for that, but if someone really wants to elevate their lifts and try to get a little crazy, go for it. I've not tried it, but I do feel like you could easily get 3 plates on this thing and you'd be okay. Some other things you guys would get too is it came with these pins here, which I'll pull out right here. It came with these hitch pins right here, which would just slide in right here, and then it would latch on. Honestly, I prefer my own hitch pins I have. I like that the surface area of the hitch pin that I use, it's got a lot more thickness to it, so that, I don't know, I trust it a little bit better. It comes with that, but you can get hitch pins anywhere. Every freaking brand has them. They're on Amazon, they're everywhere. If you want to support the page, lukesgarage.com, any of those brands, if you want to buy a hitch pin. But I just have my own that came with this rack and been utilizing that. Obviously, other things you get too is you get your steel rods here, you get your bolts, you get your face plates, your plates here, that would then, the steel rods would then screw the top into the bottom, so that you're able to, you have your path for your Smith machine. And then it came with this bar. Kind of nice is it didn't really come with a whole lot, because it's a very space-saving design here that Revolt has to offer. Now, a lot of people wonder is like, Luke, you know, how's the quality of this? Like, is this like for the price? So now price is so crazy because there's always sales. So like when I was making this video, it was under 600 bucks. I don't know if it is or not, where it's at, you know, competition-wise. You know, competitors out there are making things like this, but Revolt's always found a way to try to get their things more affordable, and they're a small business, so I enjoy, you know, showcasing this stuff. But quality-wise, how does this feel? So, you know, I think a lot of people worry with a Smith machine especially is, you know, there's a lot of bend in the guide rods, and there's a lot of lateral play. So what I noticed actually with this bar compared to a lot of the cheaper Smith machines, because I mean, I put this in a category of like my budget racks. I have a Smith machine embedded into the rack. You know, when I was using theirs, there was so much lateral play with just the bar. You know, there's a little bit of lateral play you'll notice in our B-roll when I'm putting on a plate on each side. There's a little bit of play back and forth, but honestly not as much as I thought. I was actually surprised. You know, when you get a price point of this, you're like, okay, this thing, when you're getting it, it's like you're fighting. It's like it's wiggling back and forth. I'm on a paddleboard, or whatever it is, I'm in a canoe and I'm going back and forth. You guys know what I'm saying. No, surprisingly not as much as I thought. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is pretty freaking smooth, dude. It is smooth. Like, I've had Smith machines that, and you can hear that, kind of the sound and the motion of this, sounds like more of like my nicer Smith machines. Like I had the standalone X Mark one where the sound, the feel is pretty freaking close in comparison to that. And I've tested so many Smith machines. These guy rides are not like super cheap, like hollow too, because some of these budget Smith machines, they cheap out on these guy rides and they're more hollow, which is the stupidest thing on the planet. You're gonna kill somebody. I would rather you spend more money on a hollow tube and then just put these plastic sleeves here, because safety is important, and definitely did not do that with this. And it had two 1-inch bolts here on each side, up and down on both sides here, drilled into this rack, so this thing is not going anywhere. So I haven't had this for a year. I have not. And let me know if you would like me to do another review, like of coming out more of this, because I do like coming out with updated reviews of products, if that's helpful for you guys. I have a good idea after using something for 7 to 8 weeks of like the performance level, quality level, because obviously I go pretty hard on something like this, which is, most people at home aren't going to be doing that. They're not going to be banging this thing around and doing that. They're just looking to get fit at home, but that's something you guys want to see. What I've really done with this so far, so just dropping it to the lowest part, what I've gotten out of this so far is coming to this point, I've done some standing rows. The standing row, there was a small amount of lateral play, but it was smooth as freaking butter up and down these guide rods. I was doing about a plate. I was able to get, more like using this more as like a hypertrophy style training, because as my body's hurting, my knee is hurting. I like high reps over doing 1 to 2 reps. It's just how I train. And doing a row, very smooth. That's the main lift I've gotten for at the lowest point so far. I think that's a question for a lot of people too, is if I were to get lower to the ground, could you do hip thrusts? Well, that's the thing you got to think about, guys. You can make the decision for yourself how high and low you want this to go. So you would have to honestly measure and look and see with your height and your rack, because I could put these to the bottom here, and then this bar goes real low, and you can do a hip thrust, but where I got this set up, I've got about this much room here. I wouldn't be able to do that, but to be honest with you, I didn't set it up for that, because I was mainly just going to do upper body lifts and some calf raises with this. But that's something to keep in mind for the hip thrust people out there. Now, coming up to more of like chest level, incline or bench press, felt smooth. Smooth, dude. I mean, I got around a plate 25-10, which, that's kind of where I'm at right now with fine-tuning the movements and getting a good mind-muscle connection, and it felt very good. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Got a little crazy, and I also, if I'm going a little bit higher up in this thing, I did shoulder press. It's a little awkward. I think the issue is with how I have this, there's just very minimal space inside of this rack with these cross members. If I had my cross members were farther out here, I feel like it wouldn't be feeling as awkward to get in and do that, because I could do is easily come inside the rack and do it, but there's just not enough space for me with just my setup. But I was able to figure it out and get it done, and again, felt good, felt smooth. Calf raises were also something I enjoyed. U4C Fitness in their calf lock, getting a good deficit on calf raises, wasn't doing a lot of weight because there's no point. The deficit of using that with 10 pounds on each side was firing me up, dude. That's a lot of the main movements I've gotten out of this. Now, something else I wanted to mention for you guys is he did send me these Smith Machine adapters. So essentially how these are is like, say the side of your rack or your rack doesn't have enough holes, or essentially you want to utilize this as like on the side here. What you would do is you would pin it, and then you would have this part is where it can attach to latch on. So you got your 5/8, 1 inch. I'm not using these. We'll plug it here for you guys. He sent me a pair of these. I wanted to show you what these were honestly meant for. Is looks like, again, you pin 1 inch or 5/8 here on the sides if you wanted to, adapt it to parts of your rack. But obviously, I'm not using it for, where I have this set up, but it's just something to keep in mind for you guys. So I think what's important to talk about too is just like, is there anything that I've come across, in these 7 to 8 weeks that I've used this that have been in a safety, nervous, am I scared, concern? The main thing is, see, like dropping this, I got a little powder coat finish coming off this, but it's not jeopardize, the frame, the piece of steel for this, because I've literally, physically been slamming it against this, which is probably, most people probably not gonna do that. I do notice, and I was talking to the owner of Revolt Fitness, is like, I noticed there's a little bit of when you grab, like, you notice I have to drop this a little bit for this to latch on totally. It's almost like there's a little bit of a gap right here. But I noticed when I put weight on this thing, it doesn't move. Like I put my arm here, it latches in. I noticed even when I'm using my, I have more surface level to my hitch pin, it's fine. It still latches on it. I haven't had any issues with that. I prefer my own hitch pins over the one they gave me. And this is different for me. You guys notice that there's nothing, in a Smith machine they have like a stopper here, like on the side, so that it stops here, so it doesn't swing like this. That is definitely very new to me. I have not experienced something like that. So when I'm doing my movements, it's not like flinging back and forth. If you tighten this up enough, you're not, it's enough to where, it moves enough, it's smooth enough where it's not gonna be swinging back and forth when I'm doing incline or bench or squat or anything like that. Like it stays pretty upright. It's just different. Notice there's a little bit of play with that, whereas because like, again, there's a stopper usually here, so it can only go so far back before it hits that and doesn't move. I don't know, that's just kind of the design of it, but that's the main thing. Not gonna lie, these bolts were a pain in the freaking butt to get in here. Honestly, I don't want to give crap to the company because I'm just really stupid when it comes to tools. Just don't know how to use tools when I moved into this house and this gym. But it was like, there's just like this, the part in here is very narrow, so I was trying to get my wrench in there and get my my tools to get this tight on. It was a mess. The bolts look like they've been through freaking HE double hockey sticks and back because of that. So it's been yeah, it has not been enjoyable, but that's the main things. All right, let's talk about price. The price when I was making this video was under $600. Not sure if it is. If you can keep it around that range or in that close, that is very affordable. Like, extremely. Like, dude, that's a home run. Like, shout out to Revolt for trying to keep it around there. There's free shipping. Customer service. I've had good experiences with Revolt customer service. As a human being, they've been great to me. As an influencer guy, again, I don't know if they're being nice because I'm making videos or they're being nice because they're nice, but I've gotten the impression that they're good people, and they seem like they care. So I've had that. So again, that's a win with price, free shipping. They have a return policy. I know it's 30 days. We'll put that here. If you have issues, you can return it in that way. If they have anything wrong with it, which, I like companies that are doing that or trying to get a lifetime warranty or good warranties because it shows that they stand by their products and don't try to lock you in after 1 year. They try to give a good warranty because they are proven to have good products and they trust what they're bringing out to the consumer in the home gym. Let's talk about next thing is just assembly, unboxing, all that. Assembly, unboxing, there was not much to it. Assembly wise, I'm just really stupid with tools. It took me way longer. Shouldn't take anyone more than a half hour to get this thing in your rack. Make sure you measure different parts of your upright, for how long this will be, where you want to put it, how many holes you have around your uprights. Make sure you look at that, measure that if this is something you're interested in before you buy, because you want to get something like this and then you have to return in those 30 days because it didn't work out for you. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about the next thing is this a safe thing to train with, and then overall quality? I think it's safe to train with. I have not done enough weight to where I feel like my safety is even in jeopardy either, because it's not, I don't know if you're like this too watching this. I don't get a Smith machine to 1 rep max. I get it because I like the fixed path of just perfecting the movements, and I don't like using a barbell as much as I used to because it's just, I'm fighting, balancing back and forth, and I do like there's not a ton of lateral play with this because that's with a lot of barbells. You're fighting the lateral play, which again, You can argue that. A lot of people like that because the stabilizer and muscles, but as someone who is getting older, I just like a fixed path style movement. So Smith Machine makes sense to me. I think it's a safe thing to train with. It is not. I've yet, in the time I've used this, felt like this is going to kill me. I've had Smith Machines, and you watch some of those videos, I was literally scared for my life. So far, this, no, I have not had that. And just like, again, like quality, guys. Like, this is pretty smooth, dude. It's smooth. I think that means a lot. I've tested a couple Smith Machine attachments at Home Gym Con. I had tested the Revolt Fitness one again, but Revolt Fitness has got, so much freaking stuff. Revolt is a very smaller company with not a ton of products. That's why I like having these kind of things. It's been pretty smooth. I've honestly really enjoyed it. This is something you guys want me to make another review on, like an updated review. I would gladly do it. I'm actually going to use Frankenstein this rack. I'm getting some iron bowl strength uprights and then some cross members here. They're going to be purple. So cross member, upright, cross member, upright, cross member, cross member. I'm going to keep this here and then use my anchors in the front. So if you guys want to see more content on this, let me know. If you feel like this is a good fit for you guys, this video was helpful, I really appreciate this. Is nothing to you. It's no cost to you. Is using that link in the description. It helps me a lot. Affiliate links are just, people forget that, it's literally a free click for you. You spent the time to watch this video. You felt like this is a good fit for you. You felt like I'm helpful. It's a helpful thing to do, and I appreciate that. Using lukesgarage.com to buy everything you do is very helpful for me. Not selling you this. I would love to know if you'd even buy this. Would you buy this? You're like, this sucks, Luke, or I like this. Personally, it's been good for me so far. And I've tested a lot of Smith Machines, guys, so trust my word, it's been pretty good for what I've had it so far. And yeah, cannot wait to bring you guys more content soon on Luke's Garage Gym and more Revolt Fitness stuff. This is Luke from Luke's Garage Gym. Once again, see you guys later.